in the film franchises The Hobbit and Marvel's Ant-Man and the Wasp. And in my copious amounts of free time, I, as a mother also, I pursue my passion of writing. And so I've written a children's book series, which I just happen to have copies of.
Yeah.
The Squicker Wonkers. And there are 2 hard copy installments right now out of the 20 that are planned. I don't do anything in small measures, I suppose. And 4 of them are in audiobook right now. I think the 5th will be coming soon. That's a little spoiler for the Squicker fans who are watching. Nobody else knows that yet. And I'm a mother of 2 boys. And so I'm Canadian. I live in most of the time in Hawaii, but not all of the time. And that's it. I don't know. That's me.
Amazing. And before we get into this conversation, I'm a little under the weather. I wanted to see if Carrie was here from Faraday brand, because Faraday is also sponsoring this event, even though it's with Diesel. I see her, so I know she's here.
Hi, guys.
Where are you? Hold on, I have to spotlight you.
I'm here.
Hold on. Add spotlight.
Corey,
there she is.
No, Carrie.
Carrie, tell us a little about yourself and Faraday brand and all that good stuff.
I'm a washed-up mom, and I am also the founder of a sustainably run family clothing company called Faraday. So we have a couple stores in LA, but tonight Zibby's become someone I just adore, and she often wears our clothes. And so tonight, if anyone wants to try, we're doing a special code Zibby at checkout for 25% off. So check it out. But I'm so happy to be a part of this.
Oh, thank you, Carrie. Carrie and I have a mutual friend of the family, Laura Sanders Wyatt, and I was so excited because Faraday asked to sponsor my podcast, and I was like, I literally wear these clothes every day. That is like the best sponsor ever. And so anyway, I was super excited. So anyway, there's a great Faraday store in the Pacific Palisades Village, the Caruso development. So go check it out, and I'm sure there are others in LA, but that's the first one I knew about. Okay, so thank you for coming. Thank you for the code. I'm going to just put it in the chat for everybody, because I'm just that good with Zoom.
Wow.
So I'm going to do that in a second when we start talking. But I wanted to talk to all you guys about your essays a little bit. Oh, here, I can unspotlight her. Remove spotlight. So good. Okay, so
I am so impressed with your tech abilities tonight. Truly. I am so
I think I'm still in the green room at Ground Share.
If I brought my 8-year-old son in here, he would have it all sorted in like seconds, because the kids now have gotten so good with the technology. It's kind of scary.
Yeah. Which, by the way, is what our parents were saying about us. So we're getting old.
I feel like everybody else is just a sad imitation, these other platforms, just like Zoom has it taken care of now. Anyway, let's talk about some of your essays in the book, because you all have amazing things to say, and there are a lot of common themes. And the branding of this event was supposed to be Moms Don't Have Time to Have Sex, because it's almost Valentine's Day. And I think I'll kick it off with Liz Astroff's, because then I was like, I don't know why I have this as the theme, because nobody even wrote about sex. But anyway, there was one mention of it in all of our essays. So I'm going to just read this part of Liz's, just a paragraph. One of the themes of all of your essays is about the guilt that comes with being a mom, whether or not to feel the guilt, when we can put it aside, when we can't, when we can experience our own feelings, and when we have to set those aside as well. Not just moms, but lots of, other people, dads, everything else. Anyway, you said, this is Liz, and the title of her essay is Moms Don't Have Time to Cry. So if anybody's ever felt that way, maybe just, put a little clap in the chat here. If you haven't, then I feel really stupid myself. Okay, you said, once my kids are tucked into bed, I am free to lose my shit. Unfortunately, by the time I do all of the other things that I put off doing, like talking to my husband and every so often having sex with him so we don't become estranged, I have hardly enough time to rewatch the first 10 minutes of whatever Netflix show everyone is binging before I pass out. The argument could be made for crying during sex. However, that's when I make my shopping lists. I can only multitask so much.
And now there's none of that, because he got a guitar. and he's taking guitar lessons. So now I can just make lists and cry. The worst thing you could do for a marriage is decide to take guitar lessons.
Expand on that.
And that guitar has almost broken, like smashed and shattered accidentally 100 times. And if it does, it's all going to be my fault, and it's going to be on purpose. But I always almost drop it on its head or out the window. And I'm like, he's going to think I did it. It's terrible. So that is birth control.
And Liz, you also talk about how you couldn't cry about any of the things at appropriate times because you have children.
Yes.
And you said, you know, we store up all of these things and delay. You talk in the essay about a friend's mother passed away and it wasn't that big a deal, but you would have cried, but then you had to do this and then you had to do that and then you had to do this other thing. And then eventually it all, you know, comes out sideways, as an old therapist would tell me, you know, you can't hide it forever. So maybe all of you could talk just for a minute about feeling this pressure to hide or put on some sort of super shield around kids, when yet, as Evangeline said in her essay, right, you have you're so stretched with life and all of its constant demands, and yet here we have kids and all of our emotions too. How do you guys handle it?
Well, I'll just say one thing that always makes me cry, which I'm very shocked by, is that especially with my son, because he's my favorite, if he is, I'm kidding, if something is said about him where, like, if something is told to me about him that makes me see that he's suffering socially, especially, it rips me open. If I'm on the phone, I mean, I've had tears just shoot out of my face. Something about him just rips me, and it's something about boys, especially for some reason, but it just rips me open. And it's been in front of him, and he has no idea why I'm crying, but I've been and he doesn't even care. That's the other thing. Doesn't even know what's happening. Doesn't care because he's not empathetic. Because I don't do those things in front of them, which is why it's important to cry in front of your kids. But if it's about him, because he has the more social and emotional stuff, it rips me open. It just it doesn't matter where I am or who's looking or how ugly my face is when it happens.
I echo that. I've had the exact same experience. It's shocking, where normally I'm like, I can keep it all together and everything's really cool. And then he'll tell me something like, you know, like you said, like, oh, nobody wants to be my friend at school anymore. Or, you know, something that I should be so much wiser and like, this too shall pass, my love. You know, and be really intelligent about it. And I just go, ah! And like, just tears, like you said, just start shooting out of my face. And I think, this is nothing. This is so bad. Like, I'm just making it way more emotional than it needs to be. And I can't tell you how many times I have allowed myself my emotions in front of my son. I'm maybe cry too much in front of my children. I don't know, but I'm a really big believer in him seeing my emotions, because what I noticed was similar to what you said, Liz. My son has no empathy. And I don't know if it's a male thing, and I shouldn't even say that out loud, especially not publicly, but I just did. But he doesn't seem to have a lot of empathy. And one of the things I realized was that he doesn't see how his actions impact me. And because I'm always being strong. And so I learned in the last couple years, while he's been sort of maturing into that space where I have a lot more conversations that are on an intellectual level with him about like being real and being straight, and like, you're 9 now, I'm not gonna, you know, candy coat or hide things. It was really important for him to see when his actions really hurt me, and to let him see that I was so hurt I can't hold back my tears. Mm-hmm. And I've had many a moment where I've cried in front of him and straight up told him, like, I'm struggling so much with the way you're treating me right now, or with what you're saying to me right now, and this is how I feel. But I've also had so many moments where I've gone back to him, I've just cried, I haven't explained myself, I've just be like, I have to go, and like just gone to another room. And then I've come back to him later and I've said, it's really important for you to know that what happened there, why I was so emotional, wasn't just about you. I have all kinds of adult stuff I'm dealing with. You didn't make me cry like that. all of it made me cry like that. And so that he doesn't sort of take on more than his share. Because I think that that can happen with working mothers, where you have this buildup and then your child becomes the trigger, right? They become the messenger that comes in and says, let it out, like get that shit out of you. And they just trigger you and then it all comes out. And I really see that happen with me. And I really think it's important that he doesn't carry the weight of like, I made my mom dissolve into a puddle on the floor. You didn't make me, life made me. And you were this beautiful little trigger that I needed to release it.
And it's funny because I'm actually the opposite. In our family, my husband is the crier and I am the person who never cries. We talk about our emotions a lot, and like I really believe in talking to my children about their emotions and like trying to calmly talk about my own emotions. But like I'm like the person who won't cry, and then I'll be watching like a stupid Christmas movie and I'll be bawling, and the kids will be like, "What's up with like, what's going on?" But my husband cries on a dime, and so that's great. So he can model the empathy for the kids, and I can be the like calm, like, let's talk about this. You have feelings, let's talk about your feelings, without being like, let's talk about your feelings because I've got feelings too. Like so it kind of works out. I feel like my emotions tend to come out more as especially this last year, like frustration, impatience, like losing my temper. That's what I need to work on. Is I just like,
oh my God, please.
I feel like this last year is probably on a hair trigger, and I am just like constantly on the verge of losing it at all times. I wouldn't cry, but like literally just want to throw something across the room, which is a great thing to model for your children. Like across the room, like really teaches them a lot about anger management. I was being this joke.
There was more, there was so much screaming before in my house, like bedtime and everything, that we had to take our screaming to another level. And I noticed the other night our window was open and I could hear talking, and I was like, that's our neighbors, which means I just screamed at my daughter right next to my bedroom window, and I didn't know the windows were open and that they could hear everything. So I just screaming at her, and then I hear them talking and I go, I'm kidding, how was that? So could you imagine if someone talked to you like that? Could imagine that happened to someone else. Now it's it's embarrassing, but everyone's yelling. How can we not yell? We're in a lobster pot.
Someone was just telling me that you're supposed to like like if somebody is like pulling on you while you're cooking or you're doing something or you're on the computer or something, you're supposed to stop what you're doing immediately, turn, get down on their eye level and like look them in the eye soulfully and be like, what is it you need right now? And I was like, not do that.
I just hit them on the head with a spoon.
Yeah.
I was like, no, that's not.
There's so many things. There's so many holes in that theory. First
Right?
of all, whatever you're cooking is burning. Second of all, now your child believes they are the center of the universe and should always be paid attention to no matter what. And that you are theirs, that you belong to them. You don't have any autonomy. You don't have any right to your own time, your own space, to the word no, go away. Yeah, I'm not that's definitely sometimes get down. Hi, what do you need? I'm here for you right now.
We have a Peloton, and my kids have no regard for me as a person. I have to announce that I'm a person all the time, and they're so stuck in their screens that they don't hear me. But my daughter will just come in no matter what I'm doing and start talking and asking me for things, constantly asking me for these Robux things and video game things and clothes and squishies. And, and it's my fault for in the past having always just to send her away. I'd just be like, yes, yes, yes. But now we're stuck together, and she comes in the room the other night and I'm doing the Peloton and I can't breathe. And she starts complaining about her room and how she wants it decorated. I just go, mm-mm, 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 mm-mm. And then I just a guttural scream, get out. And then she's like slams the door. Like there's no, that's the version of me getting down on my eye level.
Can we discuss what the deal is with Robux? Because my son who's 6.
I'm in the wrong business.
Right? I mean,
yes. What are they? And they're building houses. And my daughter has been like, I don't even know if she's going to school, but her neuropsych said that she has street smarts. She's in some kind of neon flying animal trade on eBay. And I didn't even know she could write anything. And she wrote a very articulate letter to seller that I put her teacher as her paper. But what is it? Like she's on eBay, like trading these cartoon animals and I don't know what's happening. Roblox is just, it's blowing up. It's huge.
My son was like, I have 40 friends on, on Roblox. And I was like, what do you mean friends? Who are they? And he's like, well, I know them now. And I'm like, no.
I know.
There's a button you have to like disable the button. Anyway.
Well, someone, so they have these little, you've never heard, you're so lucky. It's this thing, they're these little people and they build houses, but my daughter was on with her friends and naked cartoons showed up. Like these people came into their house like a party, and it was just, they're just naked cartoons. They don't even have any parts. They're just Peach. But I'm like, you can't let Peach people into your parties. Do I have to watch? You have to monitor it. You have to monitor the Peach people without clothes.
So let's talk for a minute about managing kids with the writing that you all do, and writing in so many different ways. And Janelle, your whole essay talked about how difficult it was when, I'll just read this one little passage here. You said, for the time being, my office is just a memory. My kids are home all day and therefore so am I, which means that any writing I'm doing has to be within the confines of our property. And then you say, I spend my days moving from spot to spot around our home, wherever I can get motivated and find a few moments of peace. Sometimes I sit at a table in our garden right under the blooming jasmine, or lie on our outdoor couch, but the kids usually find me fast. Trust me, it's hard to get in the writing zone when you're constantly being asked for snacks.
Yeah. And so I think I wrote that like back in May, and it has only gotten worse. Like, I mean, it's like the whole thing about like personal space. They did that. If I'm there, I am on duty. Like that's the assumption. And we have no locks on our doors in our house, like nowhere. And, in the spring and summer, it was like, I could go find, like I could sit in the garden sometimes and they wouldn't find me in certain nooks of the garden. But now, like I've taken to my bed. I literally climb in bed. I get up and have breakfast. I go on my Peloton, put my sweats on and climb back in bed. And like just hide in the bedroom, and like every 2 minutes someone is coming in. So it makes it crazy because I am, as I wrote in that piece, like I'm someone who like I dropped the kids off of school and I would go to my office that I, surrounded by other writers in this collective writing space we did. And it was like the most wonderful place to be around other writers, and everyone's writing and no one interrupts you. If you only interruptions is yourself getting up to get yourself some chocolate, And so now it's like my writing has been so messed up this year because I'm truly writing in like, 20-minute, 30-minute, 10-minute, 5-minute bursts instead of like having a 6-hour stretch of emptiness, which is the way I've always written. So if my next book comes out and it's really choppy and weird, like that's why, because I wrote it in like 1 minute here, 1 minute there.
Oh my God.
Well,
Yeah.
It's amazing even to produce a book in this with the constant interruptions. It's like everybody has ADD. It's like self-inflicted ADHD or something.
I have a question. What is this thing you both were just referring to, as if like it's just the thing, like Peloton?
Peloton.
The Peloton.
I have Peloton too.
Right. Like Roblox, are they in the same camp?
Peloton and Roblox have nothing to do with each other.
It's an exercise bike that there was a commercial where a guy got it for his wife for Christmas, and the commercial, like, people went crazy. But meanwhile, I think it was a pretty good gift. Not in telling her she had to exercise, but they're like good. But it's an exercise class where the teacher is in front of you on the screen yelling at you.
Oh, on the bike, like it's part of the bike.
You get a class, you like go on an on-demand class, and then you can have someone yelling at you in person.
Yep.
That's why I like it.
You can do it on your phone, because I can't find the cord that connects the big screen to the bike. Right. So I just take my tiny little phone and I put it on the handlebars. So anyway,
you guys talking about having these amazing stretches of time on a regular basis to write just makes me incredibly envious, because all I've ever had is the 20-30 minute windows at a time where you're like, it's never gonna happen. It's just never gonna happen.
Good, you were ready for this.
Yeah, totally, completely prepared. Actually, oddly, in a very sort of almost creepy way, we were so prepared for this because we had decided in November of 2020 19 to pull our kid out of school and homeschool him because we were moving around so much with my work. And it was just getting so difficult and so stressful that we were like, forget it. We're just going to homeschool him. And wherever we go, we'll just get tutors and like, we'll do the sort of, rich actress thing because this is crazy. It's just not working. And literally in March, so like 4 months later, the whole shutdown happened. And we were like, we're ahead of the curve. We're totally doing this already. This is fine. We can do this.
Oh my God. But on you're used to it because you were on Lost. So you were on an island trapped with these people. So you're used to it.
Yeah. I've been trapped on that island for 16 years.
Yeah. So now we're all on Lost.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's some new book coming out about somebody who was on Lost. Did you see anything about that?
Really?
No. Anyway, I'll send you the link or something.
We're all on Lost. Do we all get a Sawyer?
So what are you guys working on now? Janelle, this choppy new book. Tell me about what you have coming down the pike. And if it's not a book, if it's just some other project, I'm curious what you're all up to.
Well, I'm kind of doing two things right now. I'm doing a little juggling act in between juggling the children. So I'm like doing like a double juggle. Well, I'm working on a new novel, which is technically due 2 months ago. Hopefully my editor's not watching. But it's getting close to being done. It's kind of another, like my last two books, kind of like a literary suspense type novel. And then I'm also adapting Pretty Things for Amazon. So I'm working on the pilot right now for Nicole Kidman's production company, Blossom. So got all that going on. So I'm like, working on a pilot for a little bit, working on the novel for a little bit, go make some snacks, come back to the novel, kid needs help with homework, it's only 11, like they're already on their Roblox, like, so that's my day.
They need to eat so much. It's like every morning I wake up and have to worry about lunch again.
Yeah. I've stopped, I discovered Top Ramen. The kids can make it themselves. I've just been like, screw it. I give them they can make their own Top Ramen for lunch these days, and that's what they're doing. They're basically living on toast and Top Ramen because they can make that themselves.
Smoothies too. Smoothies are really easy.
Smoothies.
Sorry, smoothies. My daughter just throws in whatever, and I'm like, have fun.
So good.
How about you, Liz? What are you up to? And that's so exciting, Janelle, about the adaptation and all the other stuff.
Very cool. I have a pilot that's in production for Fox that I've been waiting a long time for, and we're shooting it next week. We start shooting it. So I'm doing a lot of rewrites but I'd never met the cast from the neck down, and we cast people just based on their heads. So it's such a strange thing. And now I met them today, but you're in total gear and you can't be on the same side of even the building really. There's a guy walking around with a stick, making sure that you're not, I think he works there. People in the back saying, move over. So it's weird, but that's what I'm doing. And also I'm always trying to write. My passion is definitely writing essays and writing stories and stuff like that. So I'm trying to do that as much as possible and beating myself up relentlessly for not doing it more. And I watch a lot of murder documentaries. So that's it.
Awesome.
It's me.
Angeline, what are you up to?
I'm in the middle of where I'm about to release another film called Crisis, which is about the opioid crisis in America, in North America, really. And that comes out February 26th in select theaters and March 5th digitally. And then I have another film that we're just wrapping up post-production on that will be coming out relatively on the coattails of that. And then I'm going to hopefully be releasing another Squicker Wonker audiobook and physical book before I run off to shoot the next Ant-Man and the Wasp movie. And those two books are in the pipe. The two Squicker Wonker books are in the pipeline, so they should come out as long as, homeschooling and all that doesn't get in the way. And I've been essay writing a lot and contemplating whether or not I want to dive into the space of writing from my own personal experiences in life. And I keep my personal life so close to my chest and have for 16 years, and I've just fought so hard to protect it that it feels very sort of contradictory to think about telling people things that are more close and personal, intimate about my life, but I've always deeply wanted to connect to people. So I've been just doing it. And then like in the end, I'll just look at the material and go, okay, do I actually want to put this out into the world? And I have another manuscript for a children's book that I am hoping to send out to publishers within the next 6 months and hopefully get a publishing deal. So that's what I'm working on.
So amazing. Well, I have another anthology coming out in November. If people want to put a little, calendar reminder to, shop again. But I think I'm going to call that Moms Don't Have Time to Have Kids. And it's going to be 5 other categories. This one, obviously, or not obviously, but for those who don't know, this book is sleep, workout, eat, have sex, and breathe. And the next one is going to be, the next one is sleep. Did I say sleep? The next one is sleep, get sick, see friends, lose weight, and write. So that'll be out in November. And I have some really awesome authors, although there's still maybe time, probably not. So anyway, more opportunities. And I just started Moms Don't Have Time to Write, which is a publication on Medium. So if anybody's interested in submitting, can submit those essays that you've been working on to info@zibbyowens.com. I just want to say also that all proceeds of this book are going to the Susan Felice Owens program for COVID-19 vaccine research at Mount Sinai Medical Center, named after my late mother-in-law. Kyle, my husband, is on here somewhere, and his sister Stephanie. Maybe I can't see him, but I think he's here.
Kyle, you look like you're in a bathroom. I don't know why.
Right? That's what I said.
You actually look like you're on the porcelain throne.
I know.
That is exactly what I said.
I'm actually in what used to be our nanny room, if you will. That is now my office.
Your nanny lived in a bathroom?
Our nanny lived in a bathroom.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Because she's so busy, Liz, she's showering and she's sleeping. Yeah, there's really no time. Nannies have no time. That's the third anthology. Right.
Actually, one of the essays I wrote was Moms Don't Have Time to Pee. That was one of the essays I've written.
Yeah.
Moms don't have time to pee?
No,
Yeah.
Right, ladies? On a toilet with my laptop.
Yeah.
Because I just don't have a moment to breathe. And I'm like, well, it's coming in the bathroom with me. Here we go. I don't know how many phone calls I've muted so I can flush the toilet. It's like, there's no time for this. There's just no time for this.
In early Zoom, there was this, and it was like famous at the time, but now so many people have done it. But this woman Jennifer brought her laptop into the bathroom with her and sat on the toilet. And you see like 100 people on the Zoom, and they're all like, and she's sitting there going to the bathroom, and then someone goes, and then she was like, oh, and then someone just goes, poor Jennifer. And then everyone, so now we always say like, poor Jennifer, but she was like she started the trend.
That'll be me one day. I'm going to make that mistake.
Yeah. Poor Evangeline.
I encourage Kyle to put like a blanket, like a throw. So I brought like a throw in because I think it's the white of the chair. See?
Yeah.
It is. It
White
is.
of the chair. Anyway. Yeah. And Kyle's doing some cool stuff too with Morning Moon Productions.
I'm doing some cool stuff. Yeah, we got some really cool stuff going on. We have a film that's going to go into production here in a few months called Wildflower, which is really, really cool.
Really
it's, about this, it's coming of age, about this girl who's actually raising both of her mentally handicapped parents. And she's 17 years old, and it's based on a true story. And it's just like gut-wrenchingly beautiful. So I'm really, really proud of it. And got a bunch of my Morning Moon team on here. And it's going to be really, really beautiful. So I'm excited about it.
Well, I brought Kyle in because tragically, not to totally change the mood, but anyway, Kyle and Stephanie lost their mom, and we're doing all we can to raise money to find another vaccine. The Mount Sinai one that's in development is currently a low-cost alternative, which will be used more for third world countries, and it's administered in a single dose through the nose and is stable at much higher temperatures. So it doesn't have to be, frozen or whatever the other ones do. So They're doing great things and we're really optimistic about it. So all proceeds of the book are going there. I have a big fundraiser on Tuesday night at 7 for anyone who wants to join. And we're going to try to, change the world and spare everybody from the loss that that this quarantine didn't prevent for so many people, Kyle and Stephanie included. So,
are they sure? Are they sure it doesn't have to be frozen? Because I would hate when it gets there for them to be like, we should have froze this, because
they said they're up to 37 degrees.
None of these are good. None of these are good anymore.
Yeah,
we can't use any of these.
Do you smell them? You're like, this is?
I think you just smell them and you go.
You look
I'm good
at the bottom.
Yeah, they were using it on chickens before.
Were they?
Yeah.
Apparently, all the chickens have to be vaccinated.
Oh my God.
I know.
In the world?
Yes.
I would think in the world, but I would doubt that all of them in the world get vaccinated.
But what if you eat a chicken that not eat a chicken, but what if you eat chicken that's not
vaccinated chicken?
That's fine.
That's
but
totally
chickens that
fine.
are running around like people's chickens for eggs have to be vaccinated.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they should.
Well, I wanted to leave a few minutes at the end. Well, first of all, thank you to Diesel for having us. I'm sorry that Nick got lost and I feel like I'm going to be in trouble here, but thank you for them for hosting us.
I'm going to mute myself and you can pin me out of here.
Okay.
If you want.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Make sure we didn't flush.
If anybody has questions for the last few minutes of the Zoom, thank you for all the patience for our technical issues, and make sure to get the anthology and read all these essays and also the books that these women have written, which are amazing. Don't Wait Up, Pretty Things, and the Squicker Wonkers children's series. So if anybody has questions, put them in the chat. And if not, yes, somebody says, ooh, questions, may I ask one? You may, go for it. Someone says, how are you all? I think we're good. Everybody good?
We're good.
I'm going to answer for all of you. Any other questions? If not, we can.
Well, Zibby, this is the disembodied bookseller who just wants to say, I didn't think that quarantine could get worse for me. And oh my God, tonight, it did. So my apologies, Zibby. Thank you so much for being able on the fly to move us here. That has not happened before. On behalf of Diesel, on behalf of myself, oh my gosh, folks, I am so sorry, but I'm thrilled that you were able to move so quickly and do this. Oh my gosh, so I'm going to go in a corner now and try to grab the cat.
No, don't worry about it.
Great. That's great.
Thanks, Nick, for having us.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
And I have to say, like, Diesel is one of my favorite bookstores. And every time Kyle and I are in LA, we make sure to pop in there. And, I was actually like getting very sad earlier tonight because I was like, I can't believe it. I get a book event at Diesel and I'm like in my bed, like nursing my sore throat, like to get on Zoom. Like, I mean, anyway, but anyway, Diesel is an amazing bookstore. So everybody should check it out. Okay. Someone is asking, where do you get your inspiration for writing? And where did you well, let's start with that. Where do you get inspired for writing?
There was also a really great question by Angela G back.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Well, here, this one. Okay. If we're talking around the topic of quarantine, and I know all of you have written wonderful essays for this novel, have there been any particular moments or epiphanies that have brought about some large change in your life or changed your daily normal during the pandemic?
I would say yes. And one of the epiphanies I had was how much control I used to feel like I had to have over my life and my kids' lives. Like there were rules, there were schedules, there was like, everything. I felt like my life ran like clockwork, and it worked really well for like the busy, like my kids had a million extracurricular activities, and my social life was really active, and I always had like the moving parts moving. And in the last year, I've just watched it all kind of go away. Like kids have dropped this and that and the other, all like down to like almost no, extracurriculars at all. And obviously my social life is gone, and all the rules about like, technology use and watching TV on weeknights and like, the kind of food we eat has gone out the window. And I've found a real freedom in that. I mean, there's kind of a sense of anguish, like I'm just giving up too, but there is a freedom that I feel like I'm going to take into the next post-COVID life, which is, it's okay. Like kind of like a let it go. It's okay. We don't have to freak out that, whether we're Harvard bound or eating nutritionally balanced meals or not watching too much TV, I can let go of that.
That just made me feel so much better. Thank you.
All the people that are saying, all the articles, like especially from things like the New York Times that are over my head, that are like, if you're losing your shit, you're fine. If your kids only eat mac and cheese, it's fine. But I also have always kind of been not great about screens and all that stuff. Like I'm like, whatever. And now all the parents who never let their kids on screens or had regimented sleeping schedules are out the window. And I'm like, welcome to the dark side. You're going to get here anyway. So it didn't matter that I didn't do all those things because my kids, we're on one, it's the even playing ground now.
Right.
Yeah. So
I used to be like, only 28 minutes, one episode of TV, like one Paw Patrol on demand. And now like what I wouldn't give for them to just sit and watch Paw Patrol as opposed to like playing these ridiculous games and whatever. So
my kids are also bigger than me now. My daughter's grown about 4 feet in the pandemic, and they're both like, I have no control over them whatsoever. Not that I would lift them up or anything, but it's like they intimidate me. I'm shrinking and they're getting bigger. So
how old are what are your children like?
No, one of them is 2 and 4. No one. No, they're 11 and oh my God, they're 11 and 13. And by the way, they're not. What is it? A girl and a boy. The girl's 11. But I would always say to my daughter, like, I was already like riding my bike to other towns and stealing money from my parents when I was your age, and she won't get on a bus because like a camp bus, because we do everything for them and they're so coddled that they have no idea how to be in the world. I mean, this is worse, but it's kind of like all the things that they need done for them, because now they're at ages that I really remember, and I remember what I did. And I was so much more self-sufficient than they are. And I think that's partly because I have wanted to give them what I didn't have. So I smothered them with having everything and having everything done for them. And it's almost like backfired a little bit, but I don't know. Anyway, they're 13 and 11, but what I'm saying is they're 2 and 4 basically in the way that they can do things for themselves.
And Janelle,
what about you?
8 and 11, 8-year-old boy, 11-year-old girl.
Oh, okay. So same. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Evangeline?
I have a 9-year-old son and a 5-year-old son.
Oh, he's a baby still. Little.
Just reaching that age where he starts to like,
yeah.
Like, what?
Oh my God.
Okay. One more question, unless anybody else wanted to tackle that one. Any epiphanies?
Yeah, well, I realized that I don't, because I'm always punishing myself if I'm not working. And now it's like, if I want to just like walk around in my pajamas or watch I'm always in them. I'm wearing them now. But if I want to just relax, it's fine, because who cares? Like I've let up on myself a lot. Like I don't have to be, now I rarely work, but like if on a Saturday I want to just relax and not do anything and watch TV during the day, I don't beat myself up about it anymore. So definitely that.
I had coffee with a girlfriend a few years ago, back when we did things like that. And she came in and she commuted from the suburbs into New York City twice a week. And I was like, oh, what's new with you? And she's like, well, I've decided to stop feeling guilty. And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, yeah, I just gave up guilt. I'm not going to feel guilty about anything I do ever again.
It's just a decision?
We just decided. And she's been like super happy ever since.
I'm so guilty about that.
I know. So
is that medication?
I don't know, possibly, but
it's in the trial period right now.
Okay, a couple more. Evangeline, as both an author and an actress, how have you decided between thoughtful dialogue or actions with intention? Is it more important to you to verbally affirm your deeper message, or to use acting and descriptive speech to allow the reader to interpret something their own way?
Ooh. Well, that's actually a great connective question for me, because that triggered one of the epiphanies that I have had, because that is something I've grappled with a lot, because I have been, well, in the last 10 years, I've probably spent more time in my social activism life than I have in my acting world, and more time doing my humanitarian endeavors than my acting. And so I think I probably would have said, for me, that it was more the sort of a direct approach of like, it's really important for me to defend the things that I care about in the world, and my beliefs. And but I would say over COVID, there has been what feels like so much noise of so many people loudly standing up for what they believe in, that I started to reach a sort of fever pitch of like, if I hear one more thing that's really important, my head's gonna explode and my heart's gonna stop. Like I can't, like I'm starting to have heart palpitations. Like I can't keep constantly thinking about the most important things in the world and my role to play in them and what I need to be doing about them. And I took a step back and found myself completely pivoting towards the space of, maybe I just create space for people to breathe, ironically, because I wrote in your breathing section, to breathe and not be inundated with my like zealotry and my desire to change the world, but instead I make space for what they care about. Because I felt like right now that might be the most revolutionary act I can do. I think right now, so many people are so focused on being heard that they've stopped listening. So I've entered a space of really asking a lot of questions publicly and really listening to the answers, and knowing that I have thoughts, but I don't have the answer. And so I would say, those two questions are connected to the epiphany I had, was like, I don't know. And I'm like a really confident person who usually moves through life like, I know the answer, come to me, I will fix it. I've got it. I know what to do. And it was like, I don't know. And that's a really kind of amazing opening, to sit in that space and to say, I'd actually really love to hear what you have to say. I'm really interested in, even if it's like the exact opposite of what I'm 90% sure is right, I really want to hear it, because I'm going to grow from that. And hopefully you're going to relax and like rest in your soul, knowing somebody heard you in this crazy cacophony of noise that is being made right now.
Wow, that was beautiful. Okay. One more less.
Sorry, really heavy.
Amazing. No, that was amazing. Oh my gosh.
I'm thinking like, do I listen to anyone?
Yeah. Let's just
Great
listen.
question. Most people all ask that question, because most of us think we do and most of us don't.
One more question, and then maybe we'll wrap this up soon, because it's 10:30, and I feel like we've taken everybody's time, and I'm so grateful to all of you guys for doing this. But what's that?
You need to go to bed.
I need to go to bed. No, this is great. Somebody's wondering, when you guys are working on novels and screenplays and movies and all of this, how are you incorporating COVID into your narratives, if at all?
Nope. I'm not trying not to. I mean, a little bit in essays and stuff and anything like that, but I'd really rather not. I think people don't even want it, because people always say like, why don't you write about, you know, your experience as a mom during this, which I do in essays and stuff, but I'm kind of like, no one wants to read this. They're going through their own shit. Like nobody wants to see what they're, even in the beginning, those memes and stuff were so funny about the moms. And then I'm like, I'm looking in a mirror right now. Like, you know what I mean? I'm that person. So, I mean, those were really funny, but then at month like 8, when there was no end in sight, it was kind of just depressing.
Yeah, I started my novel that I'm hopefully finishing soon, before COVID. So I started about a year and a half ago, and was, you know, partway through it when COVID hit. And I did have one of those, well, oh my gosh, is this going to seem, do I have to incorporate it? And then I was like, no, we go to fiction. You could write a book about a subject intending to write about that subject, but we go to fiction and to story to escape, right? Yeah. And you don't always have to be addressing everything in life in every book or TV show or what have you. And by the time these things come out, COVID will already be something, hopefully, please God, will be something that has happened. Yeah. And as just like everything else in life has happened, and it'll just be one of the things. And I don't know that I feel like I have to address it. Also, I personally feel like you need distance from a time to be able to really see it clearly and describe it. And so trying to write something from the middle of it is like standing in the middle of a cyclone and thinking you know what's going on, but you don't because you can see better from the outside. So that's my feeling. I don't like to write about things as they happen. I'd rather write about it later.
Well, in keeping with what I just said, I feel like you can't go anywhere right now without being hit in the face with something about COVID. And you can't have a social gathering right now without talking about COVID. And you can't go on the news or on social media or to a restaurant or anywhere without being faced with COVID. And I feel like people need spaces where they don't think about COVID. They need spaces where they remember that there is a whole other existence that is going on that is not about COVID. So I'm not putting COVID in my writing either. Although I have to admit that I outlined a script a couple weeks ago that was like, when it's over, this would be a great like family drama. And it's sort of based on my family's Christmas this year, when where we were living, everybody was being told you can't see your family for Christmas. And so, you know, when that kind of like rule comes down, what you see is all the different personalities and, you know, quirks and shit about people just come out. And so I thought, you know, it would make a great family drama one day to look back on it and laugh at it, but I don't think we're there yet.
Yeah.
Keep taking notes.
I wouldn't know. You could write about something you've learned from COVID and not include it in the COVID, under the COVID umbrella. Like I didn't know that my son was headed for juvenile gout until I knew that he eats pasta floating in butter every single day. Things like that. But I can help him now. And then that could be something. But you do learn things that you could write about not having to do with COVID. Does that make sense?
Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, hopefully people at least have the appetite for this book because it's too late. It's already here. But aside from this book, you know.
This book is not about COVID.
No, I know it's not about COVID. No, it's not at all. It's not. Many essays have nothing to do with it, which is good. Anyway, listen, thank you to Evangeline and to Liz and Janelle. Thank you to Nick at Diesel Bookstore and Carrie at Faraday Brand for code Zibby so you can get 25% off Faraday clothes, which are amazing. And if you're in LA, go over to the Palisades Village and go check out the store and go check out all of their books. And thank you all for being here on the first stop of the tour for Moms Don't Have Time to. Moms Don't Have Time to Go on book tour. Here we are. So anyway, thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
It was so nice to meet Liz and Janelle. It was so nice to meet you guys.
It was nice to meet you guys too. This is really nice.
The upside of Zoom is we can be all across the country and yet get to meet and hang out on Zoom. So
yeah, and all across the world, we've got people who have tuned in from the UK and all different countries. It's great.
Cool.
Yeah,
it's very cool. And nobody has to even stand up.
We have to get over pajamas.
I know.
These are actually pajamas. I just put your neck on. Trick bra.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. And
bye.
Bye. Thanks, everybody, for joining. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.